You probably look at your cat curled up in a sunbeam on the rug and think you have them completely figured out.
Right. Yeah, we all do.
Yeah, you buy them the premium grain-free food, you offer endless affection, provide a perfectly safe home. But what if your well-intentioned love is actually, like, stressing them out?
It's a huge problem, actually.
It really is. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are pulling from a really fascinating breakdown by the Feline Fanatics channel today. And the core revelation is honestly staggering. It's that the way we naturally show human affection is often inadvertently breaking our cats' hearts.
Yeah, it is a harsh reality for pet parents to confront. I mean, we look at these incredibly complex creatures and we project our own primate needs onto them, you know?
Like we want to treat them like babies.
Exactly. We assume they want to be held like human babies or that they view the living room the exact same way we do. But the absolute biggest mistake humans make, and this really frames everything we're looking at today, is treating cats like small dogs or furry little humans.
Which they definitely are not.
Not at all. They are driven by hardwired apex predator survival instincts. So to understand them, you have to decode their behavior entirely through the lens of their wild ancestors.
Right. So if we view them as like miniature lions pacing the living room, our attempts to indulge them suddenly look a lot like sensory sabotage.
Oh, totally. Sensory sabotage is a great way to put it.
Well, take the laser pointer, for example. I mean, it is the most ubiquitous cat toy on the market. We watch them go crazy, right?
Yeah.
Stuck in that little red dot, pouncing, doing backflips.
Yeah, the backflips are fun to watch.
They are. And we assume we're giving them the ultimate thrill. But the source material says that's actually a problem.
It is. I mean, you're giving them the thrill of the chase, sure, but you are completely denying them the psychological resolution of the hunt.
Okay, wait, what does that mean exactly?
Well, think about the neurology of a predator. When a cat spots prey, their brain releases dopamine to fuel the pursuit. Their visual cortex locks in. But that neurochemical cycle expects a specific biological payoff. Like actually catching the thing.
Exactly. The tactile sensation of the catch. When they pounce on a laser, there is nothing under their paws. It's just floor.
Oh, man. So it's like running a grueling marathon, but right as you cross the finish line, the tape just vanishes, and someone tells you to keep running forever. You never get the neurochemical reward of actually finishing.
That is a perfect analogy. The dopamine loop is just left open, and the unresolved tension manifests as deep frustration. Sometimes even behavioral agitation.
So should we just throw the laser pointers away?
No, not necessarily. The fix isn't to toss it. You can use the laser to stimulate their energy, maybe guide them across the room, but you absolutely must end the game by pointing it at a physical toy.
Oh, like a kicker or a little stuffed mouse.
Right, exactly. So they can sink their claws in and physically complete that sequence.
That makes so much sense. And, that tactile feedback being crucial makes me rethink how people play with kittens, too.
Oh, the hand wrestling? Yes. When they're tiny, it's practically a reflex to use your hand to wrestle with them. They gnaw on your fingers, and it's adorable.
Yeah.
But doing that is fundamentally rewiring their threat assessment matrix, isn't it?
You are explicitly programming them to view human skin as prey.
Which sounds like a terrible idea.
It's the worst. In the wild, predator-prey dynamics are strictly separated from social bonding. So when you use your hands as a toy, you blur those lines entirely.
And then they grow up.
Right. As the cat matures and gains actual jaw strength, those little bites become genuinely dangerous. And furthermore, it causes psychological confusion for them.
How so?
Well, they don't understand why their primary provider of security is suddenly engaging them in a combat simulation. This mixed messaging frequently develops into fear aggression in adult cats.
Oh, so they're actually stressed out by it.
Highly stressed. You have to watch for the autonomic warning signs, flattened ears, rapid tail flicking, and sudden pupil dilation.
Yeah, those are the physical markers of a system going into overdrive. And speaking of overdrive, we kind of do the same thing with their toys, don't we?
Oh, the toy overload, yeah.
Yeah, you walk into a cat owner's house, and there are 30 different toys scattered across the floor. We think a room full of stimuli equals a happy environment.
But leaving them out constantly just triggers habituation. The toys just become part of the static background. The cat gets chronically bored, and then we wonder why they're depressed.
So what's the move? Hide them.
Basically, rotating toys in and out of a closet weekly preserves the novelty of the prey.
Gotcha.
But, keeping the prey novel is just step one. You then have to integrate that simulated hunt into their metabolic rhythm.
Right. The whole hunt, eat, sleep cycle.
Exactly. A wild feline operates on a highly rigid sequence. They hunt, they eat their kill, they groom, and then they sleep to conserve energy for the next hunt.
And modern pet ownership totally disrupts this with free feeding, right? Leaving a massive bowl of dry kibble out 24 hours a day.
It completely breaks their biological rhythm.
Okay, I have to push back on this, though, because every cat owner knows the absolute terror of an empty bowl. If I don't leave food out all day, won't they just scream at me relentlessly because they think they're starving?
Well, they vocalize because they have been conditioned to expect a constant dopamine drip of accessible calories, not because they're actually starving.
Oh, so it's a learned behavior.
Entirely. Biologically, free feeding traps them in a permanent, unmotivated state of lethargy. I mean, they have zero biological imperative to engage with you or play because the caloric reward requires zero exertion.
That makes total sense. So scheduled feeding fixes that.
Yeah, transitioning to scheduled feeding times reactivates their natural rhythm. You initiate play to simulate the hunt, get their heart rate up, and then provide the meal as the direct reward for their effort.
And then once they eat, they naturally crash into the sleep phase.
Exactly. Like clockwork.
We know they sleep up to, 16 hours a day?
Yeah.
And since they are crepuscular, meaning they're most active at dawn and dusk, that midday nap isn't laziness, it's an evolutionary imperative.
Spot on.
But what really surprised me in the source material is the sheer anxiety they experience during the actual eating phase. We think of them as these tough apex hunters, but they are relatively small animals.
Right. They are predators, but they are also prey.
Yeah. In the wild, putting your head down to consume a meal makes you incredibly vulnerable to larger predators.
And that ambient anxiety carries right over into the modern kitchen. When a cat lowers their head into a bowl, their field of vision is really restricted.
So if humans are walking past...
Or worse, trying to pet them while they eat.
Oh yeah, people do that all the time.
It triggers a deep survival panic. But honestly, the most insidious stressor during mealtime is often the bowl itself. Cats suffer from a very real neurological condition called whisker fatigue.
Whisker fatigue. I always thought of whiskers as just like stiff hairs, but they're essentially hypersensitive radar arrays, right?
They are incredibly complex. Each individual whisker is deeply embedded in a follicle packed with nerve endings. They send constant proprioceptive feedback to the brain about spatial awareness, air currents, proximity.
So when you force a cat to eat out of a deep, narrow bowl...
Those hypersensitive arrays are constantly smashing against the sides of the dish.
That sounds awful. It must feel like someone shining a strobe light directly into your eyes while you're just trying to eat your dinner. Just complete sensory overload.
That's a very accurate way to describe it. They need a wide, shallow, saucer-like dish.
And we can't use plastic either. I didn't realize how porous plastic is until I read about the microfissures in the deep dive.
Oh, the plastic bowls are a huge issue. Over time, plastic develops microscopic scratches that are literally impossible to fully sanitize.
Gross.
Yeah, those fissures harbor bacteria, which frequently causes feline acne.
Wait, cats get acne?
They do. Painful blackheads and sores right on their chin. That's why stainless steel or high-fire ceramic are the only biologically appropriate materials for their food and water.
Okay, so we're feeding them from wide stainless steel bowls on a schedule. But that vulnerability around the food bowl is actually just one piece of a much larger geographical puzzle.
The home layout.
Yes. We look at our homes through a lens of human convenience. We take the cat's food, their water fountain, and their litter box, and we group them all neatly into the corner of the laundry room to keep the mess contained.
Which violently clashes with their evolutionary biology.
Because in the wild...
In the wild, felines go to great lengths to keep their kill sites entirely separate from their elimination sites. It prevents cross-contamination and parasitic infection.
So forcing them to eat near their waist triggers a profound instinctual revulsion.
Exactly.
It is exactly like someone installing your dining room table right next to your toilet.
Oh, for sure.
It's objectively revolting, but we force them to do it every single day.
Well, take that analogy a step further. For a human, a bathroom is merely a utility. For a cat, urine and feces are a complex chemical communication system.
Oh, right? This is why the litter box math is so critical in multi-cat households.
It is essential.
Let me ask about that math, actually. The golden rule is always 1 box per cat plus 1 extra. I know people who say, why can a family of 4 humans share a single bathroom, but 2 cats absolutely need 3 dedicated litter boxes? It just sounds like we are indulging their pickiness.
I hear that all the time. But it isn't pickiness, it's territorial security. Because waste contains concentrated pheromones, a litter box is essentially a territorial message board.
Okay, so they're leaving notes for each other.
Sort of.
Yeah.
When you force multiple cats to share a single box, you are forcing one cat to physically overwrite the scent profile of another. It creates a constant low-level chemical turf war.
Wow, a turf war in the laundry room?
Exactly. And the stress of that overlapping territory frequently leads to cats eliminating outside the box altogether.
Which is every owner's worst nightmare.
Yeah, and regardless of the math, a cat's olfactory bulb is vastly superior to ours. If the box isn't scooped daily, the ammonia buildup is physically painful for them to breathe.
Man, they are so sensitive to smells. And that intense preference for pristine resources applies directly to their hydration, too.
Oh, absolutely, the standing water issue.
Yeah, to a human, a bowl of standing water looks perfectly fine. But to a cat, standing water in the wild is an evolutionary red flag, isn't it?
It is. It's where parasites breed. They are genetically wired to seek out running water, like a stream, because the movement signals that it is oxygenated and safe to consume.
This is the exact mechanism behind why your cat will completely ignore a full water bowl to scream at a dripping bathroom faucet.
Yes. Providing a running water fountain isn't a luxury. It aligns with their instinctual parameters for safe hydration.
Okay, so we have their ground-level geography sorted out, but we are completely ignoring the z-axis of the room, vertical space.
The floor is not enough.
Right. We live on the floor, so we assume they are fine on the floor. But cats are inherently arboreal creatures.
Lacking vertical space removes their primary safety net. When a cat feels overwhelmed by humans, loud noises, or other pets, their instinct isn't to hide under a bed.
It's to go up.
Right, to seek a high vantage point where they can survey the environment without being ambushed.
Yeah.
Depriving them of cat trees or wall shelves induces a state of chronic hypervigilance.
And if you don't provide the infrastructure, they will hijack your curtains or the top of your kitchen cabinets to meet that biological need.
They'll find a way up, one way or another.
Definitely. And, while they're up there surveying their domain at night, we need to dispel a major myth about their vision.
The night vision goggles myth.
Yes, people think cats have night vision goggles built into their heads and can see in absolute pitch black.
Well, they possess a structure behind their retina called the tapetum lucidum. It acts like a mirror, bouncing available light back through the photoreceptors a second time.
So it enhances light.
Right. It makes them masters of low-light vision. But the mechanics of the eye still require photons to operate.
Meaning if there's no light at all.
If you leave a cat home alone in a windowless room with the lights completely off, they are just as blind as you are, which induces massive spatial anxiety.
So leaving a small night light on gives their eyes the minimum light required to map the room.
Exactly. It's a small thing that makes a huge difference.
Okay, since we are dissecting the environment, we absolutely have to discuss the chemical environment we create. Essential oils.
Oh, this is a big one.
People buy these diffusers thinking they are turning their living room into a relaxing spa, completely unaware they're actively poisoning their cats.
It's scary how common it is. The mechanism of toxicity here is highly specific to feline biology. Cats lack a crucial liver enzyme known as UDP glucuronosyltransferase.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. But this enzyme is required to metabolize and excrete certain compounds, particularly phenols and limon.
Which are heavily concentrated in very common oils, right? Like tea tree, peppermint, eucalyptus, and citrus.
Exactly. When you run a diffuser, it aerosolizes those oils into microdroplets that blanket the room.
And they breathe it in.
They do, but it's worse than that. Because cats groom themselves obsessively, the droplets condense on their fur and they ingest the compounds directly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and their liver cannot process it. It leads to rapid bioaccumulation, respiratory distress, and neurological damage.
It is terrifying how easily we can alter their environment for the worse. And if their sensory world is that dialed up from their liver to their olfactory bulb to their whiskers, it fundamentally changes how we should approach physical interaction.
Physical boundaries are a huge area where we get it wrong.
Let's look at the mechanics of simply picking them up. People see mother cats carry kittens by the scruff of the neck and assume that's a built-in handle for life.
Please don't do that. The biomechanics change entirely as they mature. A kitten's body weight is negligible, and the mother's bite triggers a temporary flexor reflex that makes the kitten go limp for safe transport.
But an adult cat?
An adult cat's skin and connective tissue cannot support 10 to 15 pounds of mass. Scruffing an adult tears connective tissue and causes immense pain.
Yikes. Dangling them by the armpits is just as bad for their shoulder joints, right?
Just as bad. You have to be their structural support. You scoop one hand firmly under their rib cage and immediately bring your other hand under their hindquarters to bear the weight. You hold them securely against your torso.
And whatever you do not cradle them on their back like a human infant.
No, cradling them exposes their soft underbelly, where all their vital organs are located. It immediately triggers an autonomic defense response.
Which ties into the broader myth of the lap cat.
Right. Felines are fiercely autonomous. When a human scoops them up and forces them into a tight embrace to fulfill the human's need for affection, the cat experiences it as a predatory restraint.
They don't feel loved, they feel trapped.
Exactly. They will associate your proximity with a loss of agency and begin to actively avoid you.
And the way we pet them is totally mismatched, too. The deep dive source points out that people who are used to dogs apply way too much pressure when they pet cats.
A dog's coat and skin are entirely different. Cats suffer from feline hyperesthesia. They have incredibly high density of tactile nerve endings.
So petting a cat with the vigorous, heavy-handed force you'd use on a golden retriever
Doesn't just annoy them, it overstimulates the hair follicles to the point of physical pain.
So they process sensory input at a volume we just cannot comprehend, which, honestly, perfectly explains their notorious social awkwardness.
Oh, yeah. Introductions are notoriously tough.
Right. When a human meets a new roommate or a new pet, we rely on our visual cortex. We see them, we assess them.
But cats process the world chemically before they process it visually. They rely on the vomeronasal organ in the roof of their mouth to analyze pheromones.
So when you just plop a new kitten down in the middle of the living room and expect your resident cat to be thrilled,
You are bombarding their vomeronasal organ with an alien chemical signature. It causes immediate fear aggression.
because their territory has been compromised without warning.
Precisely. You have to isolate the new animal and swap scent-soaked blankets for days, allow them to map the new chemical profile in a safe environment long before they ever make eye contact.
Because you are building a predictable environment. And predictability must extend to your behavioral boundaries, too.
A cat thrives on structural consistency.
So if you allow them to sleep on your lap while you work from home on a Tuesday, but you shove them away on a Wednesday because you're stressed, you fracture that predictability.
Exactly. They do not understand the nuance of your mood. They only experience arbitrary environmental instability.
And the most arbitrary, damaging thing we do is the classic spray bottle punishment.
Oh, the spray bottle.
Yeah, a cat scratches the sofa, and we think a quick spritz of water will teach them a lesson. But the source material makes it abundantly clear. This is a catastrophic failure of interspecies communication.
It fails because of the limitations of feline episodic memory. Humans have the cognitive architecture to reflect on past actions and connect them to present consequences.
We can connect the dots.
Right. But cats operate almost exclusively in the immediate present. Their associative window is measured in milliseconds.
Okay, let me pose a scenario to really nail this down. If my cat scratches the sofa, I get up, grab the water bottle from the counter, and spray them 30 seconds later. They were just at the sofa, and the sofa's right there. Shouldn't their brain bridge that tiny gap?
Absolutely not. Unless the negative stimulus occurs in the exact microsecond their claws are physically embedded in the fabric, then neurological association with the sofa is never made.
Wow. So, to the cat.
To the cat, they finish a task, walked across the room, and suddenly their giant human companion launched an unprovoked water attack.
So they don't learn to avoid the sofa at all.
No. They learn that you are a highly volatile, unpredictable threat.
We are literally destroying our bond with them over a cognitive mismatch. We think we are establishing rules, and they think they are living with a psychopath.
Pretty much. Instead of punishment, we have to use redirection. If they scratch the armrest, you calmly physically move them to a sisal scratching post and reward them for engaging with the appropriate texture.
It is a complete paradigm shift in pet ownership. I mean, to build a genuine bond with a feline, you must divest yourself of human-centric expectations.
You really do. You respect the apex predator by facilitating the hunt-eat-sleep cycle.
Right, and you respect the territorial creature by providing vertical space and pristine resources. You respect the sensory machine by letting them dictate the terms and pressure of physical affection.
It is incredibly humbling when you realize how much they tolerate our well-meaning ignorance.
It really is. But the reward for aligning your home with their biology is a cat that is deeply confident, relaxed, and genuinely bonded to you. It changes how you'll look at every single interaction you have with them moving forward.
It certainly recontextualizes their behavior, and, the Feline Fanatics video leaves us with a brilliant little observation to consider.
Oh, I love this part.
Right. So now that you are entirely rethinking your living space and your physical interactions, think about those moments when you are sitting in your home office, completely absorbed in your work. Have you ever noticed how your cat will casually stroll into the room, stare at you for exactly 3 seconds, and then silently wander back out?
Happens all the time.
Next time they do that, ask yourself, are they checking in to make sure their favorite human is safe? Or are they just conducting a perimeter patrol to ensure you haven't forgotten who actually runs the territory?